My name's Tommy Sablan. They call me Little Tommy, and I'm a long-time radio producer for the Jeff and Jer Show. I was inducted into the National Radio Hall of Fame in November of 2016. I'm very proud to be born and raised in Chula Vista, California. Although I lived in Rancho Penasquitos, Temecula, and Escondido over the years, I still say I'm from Chula Vista. And I'm proud of it. It's not a rich area, but it was a loving area. I grew up right there on Palomar Street, and that home we still own. You know, being raised in the 70s and 80s, I have the best memories. You know, I had some adversity, I guess you would call it, because I was raised by a single mom on a low-paying job. I'm the youngest of 5.
My name is Rose Navarro, and they call me Pumpkin, and I am Tommy's one of his older sisters. Everybody was a lot older, and then I come, and then Tommy. And me and Tommy are 4 years apart. Lola and I, we're pretty far apart, and she was already gone out of the house with us growing up. But when my dad died, she was the one who really raised me and Tommy in a way. She taught us a lot. Because my mom, you have to remember, my mom, when my dad died, she had to learn how to drive, she had to get a job, and she was raising 5 kids. And 2 of them were growing up in a time when drugs were really out there. So she had to deal with that. And so Lola, she really helped me and Tommy.
I remember it was the day before Father's Day, and I took Tommy and Rose, who we love calling Pumpkin. So I took them to the hospital, to the Navy hospital, and I had to make a decision about letting them see my dad, because when I went in to see him, he didn't know me. And then I didn't want Tommy and Pumpkin's last memory of our dad to be where he didn't know them. So I decided not to let them see him. And I had always struggled with that, but I believed that was the best thing.
My mom had everybody stay here. I mean, she took in everybody. Like if relatives were having issues with their parents, my cousins would come stay here, or they were having marriage problems, they would come stay here. My mom, she was always in the kitchen cooking. And when I was in school, my friends would come over and everybody left here full.
You know, my mom was a very strong woman. She was simple, but she was just strong-willed. You know, she was raised with a bunch of relatives too and helped out. But my mom, you know, she prayed a lot, and she would yell and scream at Frank and Ray, you know, because she was just so upset with them, but she loved them.
This is a happy house. I mean, you know, you come here to feel loved. You know, there's a lot of love in this house. You know, a lot of stuff happened here with my brothers and stuff like that. But overall, my mom was real strong and just never gave up on anybody.
There was a group of students, and Ray was a part of that group. He was my student from 67, I'd say. And they were really talented athletes. They were just wonderful. I went to all of their ball games. I loved having them in my class. And all those kids that were his friends were in the same class in my room. And so they played off each other because they were trying to outdo each other.
But through the years, as I was a kid growing up, and as they were teenagers, they became addicted to heroin. And I loved them and I hated them. I loved them and I hated them. And today I miss them because they're in heaven.
When I first met Tommy, well, he had called me and he was trying to get a hold of a student who was a friend of Ray's, and I couldn't find out where he was. Then I found out that Ray had passed away. And then after that, that young man came to the funeral services, and that's the first day that I ever saw Tommy Sablan, was at Ray's funeral. I used to listen to him on the radio, and then I heard of all the things that he did and how much care he had for other people and how he was really devoting his time to three things: his mother, his children, and to the general public. And I was so proud of him that he was doing that. He didn't do it for notoriety. He didn't do it for money. He did it because he cares about people.
The reason why I got into radio was in high school. It was June of 1982, and summer was right around the corner, and I had summeritis. My counselor, Mr. Charles Dappert, saw me at lunch getting ready to leave, and he goes, "Come here, Tommy." And he goes, "Instead of taking Caroline and ditching school, why don't you go listen to Jonathan Lang, a guy at Career Day, talk about radio." And so I went into the cafeteria instead of ditching school, and Jonathan was talking about radio. I loved everything he was saying. He would ask trivia questions, music trivia, and he got a kick out of me because I would have the answer before he finished the sentence. So he liked that, and he saw something in me. And Jonathan Lang and Mr. Dappert called my mom the very next day and said, "Hey, we would like to invite Tommy to the radio station, KBS 95. And back then, I'd never been that far up the freeway. And so it was a big deal, my mom taking me to the radio station. I got a tour, and I've been in radio ever since. I've always known to thank them through the years, as I've been blessed with, different jobs and stuff in my career on a morning radio show. I always knew that they're the ones that gave me a shot, Jonathan Lang and Charles Dappert.
This is an all-years reunion for Castle Park, but it goes back since we were in school. There's a bond that we all have, no matter what year you graduated, 1970 to today. It's like a cool bond, and I think it's the area, because I grew up right across the street.
I think when I come to the Castle Park High School reunions and Tommy's here, I'm just glad to see him. I keep up with him on Facebook, so I know what he's doing and what's going on with him and his family. And he never forgets me. He will send me a note now and then, and it's very nice that he's thoughtful enough to think of an older lady and a past teacher from the Castle Park. He's just a thoughtful person.
I remember coming here as a kid, watching my brothers Ray and Frank play football, watching my sister Rose as a cheerleader. So my best memories wasn't actually here at school. It was actually just coming here to watch my brothers play football, because my brothers were pretty good. And in this cafeteria, there's a memorial tribute, and my brothers are here, and a lot of my friends. And when you walk and you see who has passed away, you remember them in school. And then there's a lot of times when you look at the photos, you didn't know that person passed away, so it hits you.
What I'd like to say is that Mrs. Sablan did a wonderful job with her children. They're all great children. They're respectful. They always have been. They're caring. And Tommy, to take care of his mother the way that he did and cherished her the way that he still does, is just admirable. I'm grateful for him for all of the good that he does in the Chula Vista, San Diego area.
It's a trip that I come here and people say they listen to the show, and that's a cool thing. But a lot of people that come up to me actually come up to me for my brothers. They see me and they know I'm Ray and Frank's little brother, so they come up to me like that. And today, I wanted to be here, but I wanted to see the people I idolized when I was a kid.
Well, for almost 3 decades, in one form or another, they have been a part of the morning routine for tens of thousands of San Diegans. But tomorrow morning, you will not be listening to Jeff and the Showgram on your way to work.
Tuesday, June 27th is an important day of my life. That's when we were released from our previous radio station. And, people ask me all the time, were you shocked? No, I wasn't shocked because it's the nature of the business.
After 29 years here in San Diego, the Showgram has been pulled off the air. Jeff, along with producer Tommy Sablan and personalities Laura Kane and Emily Griffiths, were told at 9 a.m. this morning that today would be their last day on the air together.
People get let go all the time. So I'm just happy I don't have that attitude of, well, they can't do that to me. I never had that kind of attitude. Right. But it humbled us. And sometimes being humbled after being released from your job, laid off, fired, or whatever, no matter what the reason is, it gets to you. But you can take that experience and use it in a positive way.
I met Tommy Sablan in 2010. His radio station was doing a conversation about famous things that people are known for, and all of a sudden they said, "Is that you, Frank?" And they go, "Well, where did that come from?" And they go, "Well, it's the Franaka family." And so Tommy jumped in his car, came down to the dealership, and he actually went right into the general meeting that was going on. And so he did a live radio presentation on "Knock Knock, Is That You, Frank?" And that's how we first met Tommy. Little Tommy Book Club, from what I recall, was really a joint venture with my daughter Monica. And we've always, as a family, been involved with the community. And we also have a reading program for our employees within the local elementary school community. Tommy's passionate about reading, and so between Tommy and Monica, this book club was either out there moving forward, and we just attached to it with Tommy. And one of the things that Tommy had been doing for years was going out and going to juvenile hall and talking to kids about his own personal life, and he has had 2 brothers that actually died of heroin overdoses. Because Tommy had a tough life growing up, and he recognizes that, and he's been very fortunate in his life to be surrounded by good people. And if people have good mentoring, they can be really successful.
There's a thing called when you bottom out with drugs. When someone gets locked up, they know, okay, I gotta quit. I had something called a high bottom. I've never gotten in trouble. I've always kept my job, even when I was using. My bottom was just realizing at the time, I'm 40 years old, I have 2 little kids running around, and here I am calling a friend that I grew up with to bring me some cocaine. That was my bottom, was just realizing I shouldn't do that. And so I stopped.
I was just angry. I just got angry because we saw what happened with my brothers. Even though my brothers passed away and they were both clean, when they passed away, the damage was done. It was there.
And I'm so happy that I made that choice of 100% sobriety, because when I do talk to kids, they know I don't use.
When you see these, and there could be 14, 16-year-old, 17, 19-year-old kids that are imprisoned, and they have no hope. And they can't get past today, not even think about what's going to happen tomorrow. And what you can do is share what you went through and the things that were a struggle for you, but how you didn't give up and people helped you out. Because at some point they're going to come to the fork in the road.
I speak at schools, and from elementary schools, junior highs, middle schools, high schools. And I also speak at juvenile hall. I speak at East Mesa Juvie. I speak at the juvenile hall in San Diego. And I'm also speaking at the Girls Rehabilitation Facility, GRF, in San Diego. But I don't preach, not getting high. I don't say don't do drugs. I just tell them what I feel and what I've been through.
But it's a beautiful morning in San Diego. My name's Tommy, and I represent the 5 guys who started Finish Chelsea's Run.
Who I am today and why is Chelsea King and Amber Dubois. Those two, their spirit, their light, has influenced me. Around February of 2009, Amber walked to school, Escondido High, and never came back. And Amber's family searched for her that whole time in 2009, no luck. It was 2010 when the name Chelsea King, January, February 2010, when Chelsea King went for that run at Lake Hodges and never came back. I got involved with their family just from searching, and then someone asked me to help Amber's family with the service, and that was after Chelsea's service. But during Chelsea King's memorial service at Poway High, her dad said something to the audience that has stayed with me and kind of has been my motto. He goes, "If you want to remember my daughter Chelsea, this world needs hope. In order for this world to have hope, we need to give. Give your heart, give your soul, give your time. It's not just about money." He goes, "To remember my daughter Chelsea King, please give." And I heard it and I sat there, and then I started living my life differently because of those words from Brent King.
Together, when we cross the finish line, we are doing more than just finishing a 5K. We are making a statement that we believe there needs to be change in the world, and we believe we need to protect our children.
From that, 4 friends and I, we all got together, the 5 of us, to finish Chelsea's run. She was a cross-country person at Poway High, so we asked the cross-country coach at Poway High to tell us what route she probably was going to run at Lake Hodges. And so we said, hey, on Facebook, we want 100 people to show up on a Saturday. It was March 20th, I believe, 2010. We just want 100 people to show up. But we didn't get 100 people. We got 3,500 people that showed up. And that was the birth of Finish Chelsea's Run. And Kelly King, her mom, hugged everyone that crossed the finish line. And since then, they moved it to Balboa Park, where Chelsea King loved to play music. And that's why we do Finish Chelsea's Run at Balboa Park. I think when I die one day, I'm going to be known for the guy that does that Christmas thing called Breaking and Entering Christmas. And it's been over 20 years now since we've started it. And it's so cool that it started with us on our show.
Put the ornaments up, furniture goes in fast in the back, and then...
How it happened was I always had the name Breaking and Entering Christmas in my head before we even did it. I just thought Breaking and Entering Christmas sounds cool. And then one day, over 20 years ago, a single dad with 2 small girls called the radio station and said, "I just lost my job. It's the holidays are here." He goes, "I don't want any handouts. I'm not looking for anything. I just need a job interview." So we were able to get him a job interview. And he lived right down the street. So when he went away to the job interview at 8 o'clock in the morning, I went to a local Kmart down the street and got a tree, groceries, toys, and a bunch of other stuff. And I literally broke into his house when he was gone. But I truly did break in, and I set up the tree and all the gifts, the bicycles and groceries, and left, and we never told him it was us. That was the birth of Breaking and Entering Christmas. And from that, now every year we help one family on the air and about 30 families off the air with what we do right here in San Diego. But the beautiful thing is that over 20 radio stations across the country are now doing it. I'm proud that the show has made an impact in San Diego because the Jeff and Jer show and all the radio stations we've ever been on, we have made a difference together as a show and a station. I'm very proud of what we have accomplished in the community. We've raised millions of dollars for various charities. I always like to do the we thing. It's a we thing. But sometimes I hear a lot of, Tommy, it's you, on certain things. And I'm proud of that.
My real name is Tommy Sablan, Jr. So I have the same name as my dad, but I go by Eddie. Growing up with my dad was amazing. Like when I first started skateboarding, he would take me to the skate park and he would stay there for hours on end, take me wherever I needed to go. He's went from being like just a producer to being like an MC. He's talking at these big places, like at Juvenile Hall. And honestly, my dad is my role model though. Like I would love to be like him one day, you know? He's just doing what he loves to do and he's making it work, you know?
I cook, that's why. I cook, and he loves when I cook food. So whenever I make like fried rice, he's like, oh my God, thank you.
I have to say, he has been my rock. He is always there for me. Yeah. I don't know where I would be without him.
He was the first producer to be inducted into the Radio Hall of Fame. So we went to Chicago and watched like the whole presentation, and he was pretty shook by that. Like I couldn't believe it. Still pretty surreal. I have like little memories of just going to the station and watching the whole show go down, and it's crazy.
I have the honor tonight of inducting Tommy Sablan, the executive producer from the Jeff and Jer Show. He will be the first on-air producer to be inducted into the Hall of Fame.
Well, my dad inspired me to just do what you love, like follow your dreams. He's just got a big heart. He got a big heart.
When he gets really old, I'm gonna take care of him. Make sure he eats, has a place to live.
You know, when I think about my life, and it's nothing compared to being a grandfather. Being a grandfather to Olivia and just seeing her and watching her grow up, it's really cool, and that's what my life is today. So if you ask me about radio, yeah, great career. If you ask me about television, yes, I'm having fun. Talk about how I'm clean for 12 years, that's great, but there's nothing that compares to being a grandfather. And, you know, there's your ending for this documentary. Ta-da, I'm a grandfather. And that's how I want people to remember me.